Hello!
Hi people!
Welcome to Counting Thoughtz podcast.
Yes, welcome to Counting Thoughtz podcast. Okay, go on and more.
Yeah. So, for everyone who are here for the first time, welcome. And for everyone who's listening to us from our season 3 onwards, welcome back. We are back with our episode 2 for February, which is based on the theme love.
Yes, the entire February would revolve around love. At least that's what the idea is. So our research has sort of been centered around love.
Yes. All this to bring change, one thought at a time.
Amen.
So with the growth of numerous dating apps, the technological world has been so helpful to resolve stage 1 of a relationship, which is how you're going to meet someone.
I don't think people today relate that pain of calling your crush on the landline and like hoping to God that they pick up the phone and not their mother or father.
Everyone having their own, gadgets. You don't know the actual, you're connecting to someone just because you're bored, or you're connecting to someone because you really want to connect.
What I've learned from my secondhand experience currently is that once you're on these apps, nobody's teaching you to, sift your way through stage 1. Although stage 1 of a relationship, that is, finding somebody to begin with.
Yeah.
That's been resolved. What do you do after you swipe right? Once you have a relationship, I think this episode will sort of revolve around ideas that will sort of help you how to interpret the other person's behavior and how to interpret any signal of distress or even convey your own emotions properly.
Right. And we also want to know the psyche behind this. So we researched, mostly Yasha researched a few issues that we can back up by research.
Things that I wanted to share were endless, and obviously I can't do that. So we've tried to shortlist very common things that we see around us, and at a certain point of time maybe we've also faced it. And the things that we're going to tell you are not, obviously they're coming from a romantic standpoint, but then if you try to implement them to your other relationships as well, I think that would help strengthen your other relationships as well. So we've had them categorized in 2 categories. So one is making the relationship better, and the other category is conflict management. And later on maybe we can add some tips for long distance relationship people also, because we're trying to empathize. So Anmol, let's start with how to make the relationship better phase.
Yes. So usually when a relationship starts, there's this very commonly known as honeymoon phase. So the feeling of euphoria is what many couples call this, and why this is called the honeymoon phase. Typically marking the earliest days of a relationship when laughter, lust and attraction are at its peak and are at highest. The honeymoon phase can also last for weeks, months, or in some cases years, depending upon the couple.
When you talk to people, many people will tell you that honeymoon phase is not something real, and many people will tell you that it is something real. What studies have shown is that in any relationship, any long-term relationship, it's not just a phase. Phase meaning it'll start and it'll end. ऐसा नहीं होता है. Why is there a discrepancy? पहले तो let's address the issue कि कुछ लोग ऐसा क्यों कहते हैं कि honeymoon phase है और कुछ लोग ऐसा क्यों कहते हैं कि honeymoon phase नहीं है. वो discrepancy क्यों है? Because people who enter a relationship with low satisfaction levels experience severe decline in their relationship. An example being the Gen Z की भाषा में अगर बात करें, if you see a certain red flag at the start of the relationship, that is going to remain forever.
So the moral of this story would be, however it starts is likely how it will grow or end.
Because generally a lot of people fall for that कि it will get better once he commits to me. ऐसी चीजें अगर हैं तो like this is a red flag in itself.
So if you get that sweet vibe from your person, that sweetness is going to remain. And if you don't get that vibe, kindly either you put in efforts to improve that,
or do not waste each other's time and look for someone else.
it is
Hold
very
on.
important to have date nights. And why is it important to have date nights?
Because human connection ऐसे ही build होता है. Like ये तो fundamental है.
Right.
So if your other half is nagging you for a date night, go have that date night, because going on a date night for 90 minutes every week for 4 weeks can have a long lasting impact on a relationship, even 4 months later, in terms of satisfaction in a relationship. ये बहुत gibberish sound कर रहा है. To break it down, if you go on a 90-minute date today, इसके जो the satisfaction that it will bring into your relationship will be felt even after weeks have passed. If that's not something that you can accommodate, plan 2 dates in 1 month, make 1 indoors and make 1 outdoors. ऐसा नहीं है dress up and be fancy and go out. And by dates, I mean anything that will build intimacy.
Yeah, you know, there's this very viral meme that shows a woman get turned on by their male partners doing household tasks.
Oh, yes.
And there are actually studies that show when women perceive a more equitable split in household responsibilities, they report more satisfying, intimate life.
Yes, they do. So now if you're a woman, now you know there is science. Magar. If you're a man, you need to know that the same research also shows that men tend to overestimate the amount of housework they do, which I think is the downfall. Like friends included, I've seen people do this. They do something कि आज तो मैंने बर्तन धोए थे, right? तो खाना भी तो खाया था ना भैया आपने. He has the audacity to tell everybody in the circle that I am splitting my work 50-50. Okay.
So we should, never underestimate the power of compliments. And there is actually a proof that says that you must have 5 positive interactions for each negative one.
Which is not how people function.
Not most people.
Because ऐसा हो जाता है कि I screwed up, I said sorry, you said it's okay, now move on.
That's not how it happens.
That's not how it works. What is supposed to happen is that I make a mistake, I apologize, you probably tell me that it's okay, but then I need to understand.
It's unfair. It's okay is one thing that you have forgiven, but you have to make it up to them post that.
There is a gap between saying it is okay and things actually being okay.
Yeah.
If you forget this, you're doing things wrong, you're apologizing wrong, because an apology that is coming without actions that back your apology is manipulation. Don't do that, people. So
when you, in general sense, when you appreciate your partner, you feel there's this sense of mutual appreciation. You feel like, oh, I chose the right person.
And those compliments need to be genuine. They don't need to be sugar-coated.
It's evident when someone is complimenting
you genuinely.
I can see it in their eyes how genuine it is if someone is complimenting.
The other thing is aftercare. After you do the deed, those cuddles are important. I'll get into the science of it later on, but then you need to understand that it's like a high. So think of it as flying a plane. You're all high on dopamine and everything is nice and everything is fun and everything's cool. As important as it is, so it's a landing, you cannot take away the importance of landing away.
Yeah.
So safe landing is very, very important. Similarly, once you do the deed and you're all high on dopamine, once that passes, your aftercare could look like anything. Like people play video games, people have cuddles, they take hot showers. In layman terms, there is a certain sense of sadness or a certain irritability they feel after having coitus. And this has nothing to do with the quality of your relationship, how happy you're with your partner, or how good the deed was. So now aftercare can mean something else for different people. Ask your partner, and remember, it is about giving as much as receiving. So both the act and aftercare
is equally important, I feel. So
the next thing is
validity of your emotion. When your partner is going through a rough time, try to validate their emotions, even if you think they are overreacting or being too sensitive. Validating someone's feeling does not mean that you agree with them always. Simply reminding them that it is human to feel things that we don't always understand, and it is okay.
Sometimes when you're feeling a certain thing, you yourself don't understand what you're feeling.
Right.
I think the worst thing that you can do when your partner is going through
Something difficult.
something emotionally difficult, try to justify what they're feeling with reason. But when you give reasons for someone's, just say you are crying, and I ask you reasons, why are you crying? What happened? Why are you so sensitive? So all these questions are forcing reasons out of you. Is me trying to force reasons out of you. Instead, I think I should be able to give you a space to cry, and then once you have calmed down, then probably we can sit down and reason, because you need to understand it's like comparing apples to oranges. Both are important, but then you can't compare something that is so innately different. बहुत लोग ऐसे होता है, you're going through an emotional turmoil and they will agree with you just because they want to not fight. This is also emotional unavailability, कि just because तुमको कंफर्ट चाहिए था, तुमने सामने वाले के इमोशंस को रिगार्ड ही नहीं किया. तुमने उसको, या तो तुम उसको इग्नोर कर रहे हो, या तुम उसको जस्टिफाई नहीं कर रहे हो, या फिर ऐसा हो रहा है कि whatever the other person is feeling, you're just putting it under the rug
And you're not acknowledging their emotions till the time it can be ignored.
Yes, research shows that a lack of emotional responsiveness or feeling like your partner does not understand, validate or care about your feelings is much more predictive of a relationship collapse. This is a good segue into conflict management.
Yeah.
Pehli cheez, if there is a conflict, the first thing that you need to do is de-escalate the conflict, or in simpler terms, try to make repairing attempts. What you can do is, a lot of people say that you can use humor, you can ask for a timeout, you can hold their hands, but whatever you do, you need to know what the other person responds to before you actually do it, because sometimes you're just not
in that state of mind, or sometimes you're not just up for it.
So you need to be able to read the room. मेरे हिसाब से you need to learn to fight right, because you are in a fight and you try to hold them and they say, don't touch me.
Yeah.
Sometimes you say that, okay, I need a timeout. So the other person could take offense that I am in the middle of having an emotional breakdown and we're fighting, and this person needs to run away from me. And then the fight would escalate because you've not had that conversation prior to having that fight.
Yes. Physiologically, you need to give them time to grasp the entire situation, and they must take that physiological break. That once our body goes into fight or flight mode and our prefrontal cortex just shuts down, which just disables us of being rational or being able to process the entire information. At that point in time, you have to take a break and calm yourselves down.
Quora pe somebody had posted mera research. This lady, she says that whenever we fight, we sort of take a break, go separate ways, don't talk about it, just work out for 20 minutes and then come back. So what happens is, your body acts like you are in a life or a death situation, and that will trigger a flight or a fight response. The kicker is that once this response is triggered, it takes a minimum of 20 minutes for your body to process those hormones. The whole reason this works,
and the whole reason this works, is because you're not trying to get back to your partner. What you're trying to do is, you're trying to focus on yourself and you're trying to come to a level-headed situation.
When having a discussion, जिसको हम discussion बोलते हैं, जो कि discussions नहीं होते हैं, because when you listen to the other person, you don't listen to them because you want to understand their point of view. You listen to them so that you can prove them wrong, and that stance itself is wrong. Simon Sinek, I believe, he says that there are there are finite games and there are infinite games. So finite game would be like a football game or a cricket match, wherein one party wins and one party loses. So these are finite games. There are infinite games. The purpose of infinite games is not to win. The purpose of infinite games is to keep playing. So a business, a relationship, is generally considered an infinite game, because you are not here to win. You are here so that you can keep doing this over and over again. So whenever you fight, keep this in mind, that you're not right or wrong. You are here because you want to keep doing this again and again. This
Back to the topic for long distance people,
which people say that are generally difficult. There is one thing that I found in my research. They say if you have a good experience, share it with your partner. Click pictures, send videos, probably have a video call or whatever. So what that does is, one, it is totally adorable. Duh. Okay.
So when you do this, higher relationship satisfaction, higher trust for both the parties. To conclude, when you are looking for a meaningful relationship,
It's okay.
make sure that just conveying your intent or swiping right is not enough in today's world. To sustain that relationship, following through with your intentions, your actions, your affection is also a necessary part of it.
Alright guys, so we'll catch you in the next episode. I hope you are able to make some sense of love.
And
you are able to fight right, and happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening to us, and happy Valentine's Day.
Yes people, bye.
That's
Take
it.
care.
Bye. Happy Valentine's.
Yes, bye.